meeting. We actually had a meeting with one of our lead people this morning, and she's going to be going home for the holidays, and we're trying to make sure that things just kind of maintain. And so if if you just got time or you just want to come over and work with Mike over the next week or two for an hour at the garden, he could probably use you, and we could talk to you about programming. Honestly, Jordan, we've stopped our last official day of our youth programming was Monday. The only thing they have in the fall left is we have a field trip excursion on the 18th, and then our kids will not be back until January 10th. But obviously there's stuff in the garden that Mike is doing. And so if you want to come over today and just say, hey, you want to just, do some work in the garden for an hour or two, you can coordinate that with Mike. Or if you just need to come over and meet with us and we kind of talk about how we position urban agripreneurs going, in the spring, we can do that too. So we're definitely open.
Yeah. Mike, is the best way to just give you a call or a text, but what days are you going to be in?
I could be hold on, let me turn on my, I could be at the church whenever. So I'm usually like anytime after 10 and usually before 5 o'clock.
Okay. Yeah, I'll give you a call then. Next week you'll be in?
Yeah.
Okay.
So actually Monday we're not doing anything if you want to come through on Monday.
Okay. Monday I have a lot of meetings. Yeah.
Okay.
And you're at Cheyenne's on Tuesday, right?
Yeah, but I might not be next week. We'll see. I mean, I'm going to be on me and Cheyenne on Saturday this week because of like the monthly beekeeping.
Okay. I know next Tuesday, we are meeting with the Berkeley Food Network on Tuesday. We have a meeting on site with them at 11, kind of 11 to 1, we'll be around Monday, Tuesday, but you coordinate with Mike and you can definitely work it out.
Okay. Yeah, Tuesday I might be able to make it. So.
Okay. Okay, so let's jump in. If people come in, they just need to join and hitch to the caboose. Okay. So Vanessa, again, welcome. In this space, what this purpose is over the next 6 weeks is for you all to really hone in and kind of reinforce some of the training and some of the skills and activities we've done over the past couple of months. And so ideally what happens in this space is you'll be looking at the business plan template. You'll be looking at the business plan template and really taking those things that we've kind of done together and really filling those things out. There will be a couple of workshops where we're really trying to call in people like our partners from the East Bay Community Law Center to talk about things like permitting and things like that. But we want to make sure that you start to get that stuff on paper. So the idea, again, is for you to be able to talk with your peers, have more breakout sessions. These sessions, unlike the first sessions, are 90-minute sessions as opposed to 2 hours, save for at least 2 weeks that'll be 2-hour sessions when we have guests in. So because you are here with the three of us, we have an opportunity to work with you, specifically to give you some direct attention. So this is, in one sense, it's kind of cool. We really want the rest of your peers to be in because you guys need to talk to each other, but, talking to us. So what our intention is tonight, we want to revisit a section of our first presentation about why you need a business plan, And then we're going to talk a little bit about mission and vision. Then we're going to look at helping work through, I'll talk a little bit about taglines, but helping you working through those first sections to make sure you start getting the mission and vision down. And then in subsequent weeks, we'll be filling out other parts of that business plan. And so you have more interactive time to talk with one another. Are there questions before we get going that you have for Jordan or Michael or myself?
No, I don't have one at the moment.
Okay. Okay. So this is a good, exciting piece because Michael is recording this, and hopefully next week we can talk more. So Mike, why don't you cue up that first presentation that we did, and let's go back to that section about why we need a business plan. Then we'll talk about mission and vision, and we'll talk a little bit about that. So Vanessa, I guess the first thing for me to ask you in terms of where you are in your business planning with your mango business, you know, given where we left things a couple of weeks back, given what we did over those first 10 weeks and where you find yourself now, do you think it's necessary for you to have a business plan? I'm not talking about in general. I'm talking specifically about your business. Do you feel it's necessary to have a business plan?
Yes, it is necessary.
And why would you feel that way?
For funding and for be able to present like to potential partners.
Okay. Do you think the business plan is necessary for your the operating aspects of your business?
Yes.
Is it a roadmap for you? I guess what I'm trying to tease out, because definitely I know for financing and funding, but as a guide or a roadmap, Michael and I were talking today as we're planning, we've come to the conclusion, and maybe we already knew this before, but we've had this conversation before, right? That there are people that have a business but don't necessarily have a business plan, and people that have business plans that don't necessarily have a business. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay. And in the operation phase of your business, do you think the plan is necessary? Is it something that's useful, helpful, or is it just one more thing to get in your way?
No, I think it is very useful for the business that I envision.
Okay. Jordan, Mike, any comments?
No, I hopefully from the first 6 or for the first 10 weeks that we've instilled in you that the difference between just having a business or just starting a business and actually being an entrepreneur that's going to run and develop a business.
And as the slide indicates, again, we were talking earlier, right, that your business plan is your guide, it's your roadmap, right? It should be your Northern Star, not only about, startup and profitability, growth, and, but also just about, about operation. I mean, there should be some things in your business plan as we started talking about even things like value proposition, the promise, that you're going to deliver to your customers or your partners, right? That it should be a living document that we should be checking, and business plans can change. So I'm hoping that as you develop, Vanessa, going forward, that you would use us and other resources to really, think that through. What is going to be optimal for you?
Okay.
Jordan, any insight or comments you want to share?
I was going to ask about changing it after you already made your business, but I guess you answered that question.
Yeah. I mean, business for different reasons, for both external and internal, challenges, right? you may need to shift. I mean, and we talked a little bit about that over the first 10 weeks. You may need to pivot. If you are in a market that is saturated, or you are in a market, so we were talking, if you all remember a few weeks ago, about market testing, and the difference between product testing and market testing is that market testing has more to do with a region or geography, a population. There are some goods and services, some products that are targeted at a specific region of the nation, or a specific demographic population that may not necessarily work in every population. Y'all kind of hear what I'm saying?
Yes.
And remember the example that we talked about McDonald's, is that contrary to popular belief, McDonald's isn't a fast food company per se. Fast food is the vehicle. But what did we say about what McDonald's was? You remember that?
Real estate.
There you go. They're a real estate company. And so sometimes you got to think about business planning, and how that relates to it. But definitely, Jordan, yeah, I mean, you may have to pivot, you may have to shift depending on what market analysis, that you're going on. And there's a bunch of variables, and obviously profit and bottom line pricing, we're in the middle of a major supply chain interruption. And one of the things that people are really discussing as it relates to urban agripreneurs is that folks who who grow local, or produce local, you're not as dependent on supply chain issues if your products don't come from far away, and particularly, from overseas or other nations, right? If you grow locally or produce locally, you're not as vulnerable to issues in the supply chain. Now, that still comes with challenges when it comes to things like pricing and so on and so forth. So
I would just like to add that when the example of McDonald's is really good, because the McDonald's brothers came up with an efficient way to run a hamburger restaurant. And Roy Kroc came by. He saw the opportunity to turn it into a franchise machine. So he wasn't so much interested in selling hamburgers, Roy Kroc, but he was interested in selling the business model or the business plan that the McDonald's brothers had actually put together.
absolutely. And the economics, we call that economies of scale, right?
Yeah. So the business plan, probably, I don't know if the McDonald's brothers ever made a business plan, but they made a successful business. But Roy Kroc definitely had to change up the business plan when he took it over.
Vanessa, any questions for Mike or Jordan or I going forward? Pretty
No,
clear?
Yes.
Okay. Mike, why don't you go to that next slide and we'll get through. So, and again, we've talked a little bit about this, the difference between a hobby as opposed to a business, right? You have a hobby generally for recreation. Making a profit is not the primary objective as for a hobby as opposed to a business. Businesses, on the other hand, they usually operate at either a profit or a loss. And so as you are really building that plan and that model, and I think one of the things that's very powerful about what you are doing and continue to do is it's part of your family legacy. It is part of your business. It is part of your community legacy. And I think that there's the huge cultural impact, right? You still have to pay attention to details, right? And really looking at how profit and loss affects your ability to be able to meet your objectives and operate, so that it's part of your livelihood. And that's what you got to do to figure out if your activity counts as a business, right?
Mhm.
Any questions?
No, not at this moment.
Okay. Just let me throw one out to you. When did you decide, or ever have you decided, that what you were doing was a business as opposed to a hobby? And there's no right or wrong answer. I just want to pulse and gauge what you're thinking and how you feel.
Well, I considered the business early on because there were like transactions taking place, and it was like an annual, and it's like a cyclical
Okay.
business, always
When
giving
you say
fruit.
the cyclical business, are you talking specifically about mangoes?
Yes, specifically the mango business. Yes.
Okay. Very good. And what was it in you that just said that I want this to be part of my livelihood, or the centerpiece of my livelihood? What moment did you just arrive at that point, if any?
I would think it was last year that it began.
Okay.
So yeah,
Okay.
because parents were inviting us to participate.
Cool. And you don't think, was there any event that sparked that, or it was just really a decision, an epiphany that you had arrived at?
It was mainly like some kind of a responsibility of mine and of our siblings. So
Cool.
it was mainly a passage, like a
Okay.
family passage of
That's good.
passing down
No,
the business.
I really like this, because this becomes part of your story. And as you're going to start filling that business plan out, it's good that Mike and I and Jordan hear this, because this helps us to support you, and give you more attention, and you think about your needs. I would suggest for you, Vanessa, and we'll tell this to other people over the subsequent weeks, these things that we're asking, these questions we're asking you, I would keep a list of questions that you might have, and needs that you have to support, and that we can be in this space because we want it to work for you.
Okay.
Jordan, Mike, any comments before we move forward? Or questions for Vanessa?
Yeah, I like the last part you said. Those questions could actually end up becoming the keys to your path to having the successful business that you want. So yeah, I agree. Keep a list of those questions that you have that you feel or that you need answered, so we can help you with that.
Cool. Next slide. So again, one of the things we've talked about for-profit versus nonprofit, we've talked about a lot of different models. Michael talks a little bit about limited liability companies, or LLCs. We talked about incorporating. We talked about being a nonprofit, and how being a nonprofit doesn't necessarily mean you don't make money, but it's like, from business purposes, that you're not showing that you're in business to turn a profit. But that doesn't mean that there's not money to be made in nonprofits. The Kaiser Permanente Foundation is a huge nonprofit. It makes more money than the average corporation. And so, let's be clear. The YMCA is a nonprofit, but it makes more money than a lot of organizations. And so, as a business model, you need to decide what are the pros and cons. Does nonprofit mean that we can't make money? No. And I think that you have a for-profit business, Vanessa, but indeed, it's important to make sure that, that we are clear about what we're doing. Very well.
Yes.
Good evening, Miss Claudia.
Sorry, I'm so late. I had conflicts going on today. Just got in the house.
Don't be sorry. Look, we're good. We're just what we're doing, just to recap. Remember, over these next 6 weeks, our goal is to help you all fill to fill in that business plan. And so kind of what we are doing is making sure we're going back through a couple of things. We're going to pull some things up. And then we're going to have probably some time for you and Vanessa to talk to each other by yourselves. Most of our sessions will be 90 minutes, but of these next 6 or 7 sessions, there'll be 2 that'll be of the 2 full hours. So we're going to try to use your times wisely. So we're kind of recapping a couple of things and what we're going to be doing. We're talking a little bit about mission and vision. Then I'm going to talk about taglines. And when I talk about taglines, I'm going to split you and Vanessa up into a group, put you together in a group, and let you kind of talk through just with the 2 of you and come back. Okay. So this is your time. And Claudia, what we were also saying to Vanessa, as you need to think about your business, one of the things that you want to do is really kind of thinking through, these different aspects that we're revisiting. Why you need a business plan, your mission and vision that we'll get to again just in a second, and writing those kinds of things down. And if there are questions that come up, we were sharing with Vanessa, if there are questions that come up, really making a list of writing those things down, and then scheduling additional time, even outside of class, with Michael and Jordan, myself, that we can help resource you and help you kind of think through some of those questions. Is that okay?
Yes, and could you put your email in the chat to reach out? And unfortunately, I have to get off at 6:55 tonight, but this is the last time I have to get off early like this.
That's okay.
And I tried to get back on last time, but the meeting I had, oh God.
I understand.
Oh my gosh. So trying to do a lot in a short amount of time. But
I get it, my dear. Just like I said, you don't need to apologize. Know that we're here to support you and help you build, your business. Okay.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
We are here. So we will try to get, I just put my email in the chat. We'll try to get to everything before you can get off.
Okay.
Before you can get off. So we were just talking about profit versus nonprofit, the pros and cons. Mike, go to the next slide real quick. You can skip that because it's kind of what we were talking about. So building mission and vision. Remember, a big piece of what we did was help you all work on mission and vision statements. And, if you have not really kind of finalized and refined mission and vision, next week we're going to go back and visit that again and make sure that you have critical mission and visions and understand the difference. Remember the vision. What did we say about vision? What's the difference between vision and mission? What is a vision statement? Y'all remember? Claudia, Vanessa?
I'm just guessing an idea or something that you want to do.
Yes, it's an idea. But specifically, it is a future state of being. It's a desired state in the future of where you are headed, right? A world, you envision a world, where there are, people using mangoes for everything that Vanessa does in her business, right? Or a world in which, every garden, every library has a garden. And in that library and in that garden, they're culturally competent foods based on the neighborhoods that you're in. That's a future desired state, right? Y'all with me, or is I'm not making sense?
Yes, yes, yes. I totally understand.
Okay, and then the mission is what you're doing to get there.
Yes.
Right. So if it's growing mangoes and getting them into localized markets, and the products from the mangoes into localized markets, and really kind of building the history and the cultural competency of how mangoes are used, whether you're in the Bay Area or in Mexico or wherever you are, that's where you're going. If you're doing community education about black eyed peas and the history of things like that, and okra and things like that, and how that relates, right, to not only health education but cultural competency. If you're building classes around that, you're going to build a mission around it. That's what you're going to do to get there. You see the difference?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So we want you to keep working on those mission and vision statements, because we want to get you those things down on paper. Okay. Mike, pull that business plan up real quick. And Jordan or Mike, if there are comments that you really want to give, but I'm just trying to make sure we get a little bit of time for Vanessa and Claudia to have some time together, because I'm going to talk about taglines in just a minute. So you all should still have this business plan. Michael, if I'm correct, the business plan is in Classroom.
Yes, it is.
So if you don't have it, you should check Classroom and you should see it. So one of the things that we're going to be talking about, scroll down a little bit. We're going to be talking.
You want to scroll down more?
Scroll down more, yeah.
Hold on, let me pull up the one from the Classroom. This is a longer version.
As Michael is doing that, what we're going to talk about tonight, we're not going to talk about mission and vision because we've gone over that, but we're going to talk about taglines. So, Mike, don't even worry about pulling it up right now. I just want to ask you, what is a tagline? Anybody, what is a tagline for your business?
It's like a little slogan, some kind of.
Yeah, and there's a difference between a slogan and tagline. They're similar, but slogans change, taglines don't.
Okay.
A statement about who, a brief statement or sentence about who you are.
Yeah, it's a short, memorable description, not just about who you are, but it's the idea that you convey. So if I say just do it, whose tagline is that?
Nike.
Say it again.
Nike.
Michael Jordan.
Nike, right. But that's Nike's tagline.
See, I know it's Nike, but I'm gonna say it's Michael Jordan.
I'm gonna leave that alone, sis. But you're right. Okay. If I say the happiest place on earth, right? Who am I talking about? Who's that?
Disneyland.
Disneyland. Okay. Right? And so the truth is taglines don't change. Disney's had a whole bunch of slogans, right? They've had slogans around make your dreams come true, but their tagline is still, the happiest place on earth. Nike's had a bunch of slogans, but their tagline is just do it. And so what I want you to do is help you develop a tagline. And we're going to be doing this not just tonight, but over the next weeks. We got about 12 minutes before Claudia has to go. So I'm going to tell you what, I want you, Michael, to put Claudia and Vanessa into a meeting room. We're only going to do 7 minutes. I want you to talk to each other again about your businesses and start thinking about, what makes your business memorable and some buzzwords. You don't have to develop a tagline right now, but some buzzwords that you would think about your business that they could be a part of a tagline. So let's give them 8 minutes, and then we'll come back together before Claudia has to go. Do y'all understand those instructions?
Yes.
Claudia, Vanessa?
Yes.
So you guys are going to talk. You don't have to develop a tagline now, but describe your businesses to each other again, and think about some buzzwords, 2 or 3 buzzwords that can be part of a tagline. You got 8 minutes, and then we'll come back. Mike, whenever you're ready.
I opened the rooms already. So you guys, you should see the. There we go. Is it popped up in your corner, Vanessa, to join the? There you go. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was smoking. I mean, the second time they just caught on fire. But the first time I put it through, it just smoked. I guess it was, and I didn't even light it the second time because the I knew because the the charcoals lit it the first time, but they lit it slowly. The flood for the garden. 30 seconds.
What happened?
We're back in the main.
We're back.
Okay.
And we know you only have a few more minutes with us, but for you and Vanessa, just give us a little feedback. Were you all, did you need to be refreshed about each other's businesses? Claudia,
No.
Vanessa?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, cool. So again, when we're talking about taglines, right? A tagline communicates the message about your brand, right? And that's important because the tagline, kind of, you really want it to get kind of stuck in their brain, right? That again, when we're talking about the Nike example, and I know when it comes to human rights, that's not the best example to use. Well, Disneyland or McDonald's might not be either, right? But you understand that there's something about the messaging, whether they're true to the message or not is a different story, Claudia, but the messaging, right, that it's supposed to communicate. And so let me just hear, were there some words that you thought that represented either of your businesses that could be part of a tagline? We're going to be doing more work on this next week.
Okay, so yes, I was able to list some words: gardening, legacy, generational connections, roots, knowledge, and growing.
Nice, nice. And then kind of what we'll be working on, and you should be working on over the next couple of weeks, is putting that together in a one sentence tagline. Okay. Start thinking about that. It shouldn't be two sentences. It definitely can't be a paragraph, but something that's memorable, right? Around those issues. Vanessa, how about you? What are some words that you came up with?
Muted.
I have family, fresh, sweet, upbringing, and also roots.
Good. So you both got roots. I like kind of the words that you're coming up with. And again, the same thing that I share with Claudia, I'm share with you, that the simple piece, right? That one line, not two or three sentences, because now you're going into something that starts to be more of a mission statement. But that one line, that one memorable line that communicates, who you are, that stays stuck, in their mind. We're going to have you guys working on those from the first part of your business plan. So over the next week, we're really going to try to get you to get the mission and vision and the tagline down on paper, along with a summary of your business, which we won't go to the next week. But really, these next couple of weeks, we've been working on this. We really want you to get your mission and vision statements and your tagline down. And then we'll talk about your business summary in the next section and filling all those aspects out. Jordan, Mike, any questions and or feedback for Vanessa or Claudia?
I would just say, like the example of Nike, when their tagline, it kind of says what kind of person you are. So when you,
Well, I can't hardly hear.
I'm sorry.
I can't hardly hear.
Hold on, he's coming.
So I'd say with Nike, Can you hear me now?
You are very low.
Yeah.
Very, very low.
Mike, you might want to come in this room just so, turn your piece off so they can hear you, because I think this is important.
Vanessa, did you hear him at all?
No, I didn't.
Okay, I just want to check to see what's just not me. Okay.
It's not your ears, Claudia.
I'm like,
Be careful, Claudia. You sound like my mama now. Boy, are you messing with me?
Like,
go ahead, Mike.
Now I was just saying, just like when you think of your tagline, it's like Nike. It kind of tells who you are when you buy Nike is the kind of person that just does it, you know. And with Walt Disney, it's like saying what you're gonna be when you're in Walt Disney World. You're gonna be happy. It's the happiest place on earth. That's kind of how you want your tagline. It's kind of a description in a simple, but like without describing, but classifying your customer.
I see.
Jordan, any feedback? I know Claudia's about to jump out of here, but just make sure that you have a chance to give any feedback.
No, I mean, not really. Just, don't be afraid to be creative. Be yourself.
All right. So look, let me give some assignments and Vanessa, we definitely can stay on with you for a few minutes if you have other questions, but next week, and we'll have Michael put this in the chat, we want you all to be working on your mission and vision statements to put down on paper on your business plan. Start filling that out. And your tagline. Your tagline cannot be more than a sentence. And it can't be a run-on sentence. To show somebody, you better hear what I'm saying. A run-on sentence, my sister, was an English teacher for 40 years. And she used to always say, why you got all these run-on sentences in your writing? Something succinct is what a tagline has to be. That is your task, to work on the tagline for your business and your mission and vision statements, which you should have already been working. And we want to get those down on paper. And Michael will put that in the chat for next week.
I'll put it on the stream, so they'll get it in the email and they'll see it.
Okay. Claudia, I know you got to go. Vanessa, we're willing to stay on if you have other questions.
Yeah, no, I don't think I have any other questions at the moment.
Okay. All right. Jordan, anything else?
No, nothing for me.
All right. So we'll let you all go then, and we will be back in this space at 6 o'clock. At 6 o'clock next Wednesday. This is your time. And if you need us in between, if you got questions with the vision and mission statements or the taglines, and you need more personal attention for us, use us. You have our information in Classroom. You have our emails. Call us. We will give you that personal time. Just set the space up. But we want you all to be successful. Okay.
Thank
You're
you so
muted,
much.
Claudia.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks, Vanessa. Claudia, you're muted.
I'll be able to stay the full time next week.
It's good. It's good. But like I said, if y'all need us in between, you hit us up. We are here to give you that attention.
And if
all right.
you needed the template,
Thank you.
It's on the Classroom.
Have
and
a
the
good
template's
night.
in the Classroom. Okay, everybody. Y'all have a good night. Thank you, Vanessa. Thank you, Claudia.
All right.
Jordan, appreciate it, bro. And we'll look forward to everybody next week.
Sounds good.
Yes.
All right.
All
Bye-bye.
right. Good night.